Paul McKenna for PT Boxing down at Leeds today with me, Dave Coldwell. How are we, mate? Okay?
Very good, mate. Very good. It's been a while since I've heard of PT Boxing.
Long time no see. Must have been a few years, yeah. We just had a little catch up there, but back now. Obviously, you've got Hopey on the card Saturday night. Fresh off his good victory a couple of weeks ago. I'm looking to move to 6-0 against a good kid and what would be the biggest fight of his career up to date so far, Dave?
Yeah, no doubt. You know, it's a step up to 10 rounds. It's a step up again from he fought a guy last time that was 5-0. He's fighting a guy that's 16-1. It's a step up all round, but that's what that's what fans want to see. But also, it's what Hopey wants as well, and myself, because he's a genuine talent. So the people that are very, very talented and people that are getting experience in the round sparring, top quality opposition regular, does it do him any good to fight a guy that's just trying to survive for the duration? Not really. So it's a step up, and we'll treat it as such.
Was this always the plan to fight on this card? Because obviously with such short notice it was the plan.
Yeah, it's not that we're short. This fight has been made for quite a while, a long while. But because he'd not fought for 6 months, I needed to get him out, and so Eddie got him out on the last fight camp show, and they asked me, do you want to? They kept giving me easy opponents, but like I said, it's no good. He's doing 10 rounds with Leon Woodstock. He's doing 10 rounds with Reece Bellotti. He's sparring all those rounds with his quality fighters. There's no point in then just fighting a guy that's just going to come over and put his hands up, where he'd get more out of a sparring session other than walking into the ring, So it was a good preparation for him, that last fight. Practiced a few things that we've been working on, and it set him up nicely for this fight. A completely different fight, different style, different occasion, but he's ready for it.
In terms of the kid that he is fighting Saturday, what do you know about him? Have you?
Very, very long, very rangy, awkward.
Good to get someone with that type of style, then, isn't it? Because you always come across different styles throughout your career, but to have this test of the awkwardness and that style so early on.
He likes to throw that right hand, which he will do even more against Hopey as a southpaw. But he's good at what he does, but I don't think what he does is good enough to beat Hopey Price.
In terms of Hopey himself, there's a lot of people who know the boxing. Tony Bellew, for example, who speaks really highly of Hopey Price. A lot of people who've seen him in the gym or maybe spoke to yourself seem to know he's I'm not going to say a secret that's not out there yet, but he seems to be really highly rated by people who know the boxing, Dave.
Yeah, because he is very good. He doesn't shout and make loud noises about it, but he has got a personality that's coming out. You see him, you're a likeable kid, but it's the ability and the mentality that go hand in hand together, and you're going to see as he develops something quite special. I think I just think, I've said it before, mentally he's the most complete fighter mentally.
Really,
yeah, as in nothing flusters him. He takes everything in his stride, he follows the instructions to the letter. He's not ruffled if things aren't going his way. He doesn't press the panic button. He doesn't sulk if he gets a bollocking. There's just so many different facets to it. And then on fight night, he's cool as. He's just like he is, as though he's going to go and spar. He's done this countless times. What is this to be worried about? What is this to be nervous about? But the same thing is he takes every opponent really seriously. It's about him performing to the best of his ability, rather than just performing just to beat this guy that's in front of you.
But working on things that obviously you've done in the gym, and like you said a couple of weeks ago, you noticed things that he'd been working on, and that's what these fights are really, aren't they? About putting them things into practice and seeing how they...
So that's exactly what I'm saying, but it's no good trying to do these things in something that's unrealistic to when it matters. So when you're fighting guys that aren't trying to win, so you might be able to pull off a certain shot against them because it's not in a real combat situation as such.
But where they're not throwing back, it's difficult to...
But whereas in a fight, if you've been working on timing to slip the jab and come back with it, or slip a right hand and come back with this, if the guy's not throwing it, then you're not going to be practicing it in the fight. And so with a live opponent that's giving you these different situations, what happens when, it's like Hopey's last fight. Throughout camp, we've been working on Hopey, what happens when somebody's up close to him and on top of him, keeping him under pressure. It's one thing doing that with bigger gloves and head guard, but then when you tell your kid who's inexperienced, 4-0, I want you to do that this round, go out and do this, practice that, against a guy who's trying to blow his head off. And for him just to be comfortable to go onto the ropes and to defend and to ride situations out, that's so important, because that is experience. Because in a fight where he doesn't choose to do that, and he gets put there when he's stepped up, and he isn't under fire and he is under pressure by what they're doing, not because of choice, he's got to be able to know that he can defend. He's got to be able to know he can do that under the situation with little gloves on, crowds watching, things like that. Do you know what I mean? And they're all part of ticking the boxes of development, and that's what he's willing to do. He's willing to do that. It's not about going flat out to try and stop these guys at this level. It's about working on what he's going to need when he steps up.
Yeah, in terms of what you've just said there about what he's going to need when he steps up, obviously with you, rather than just being a coach, obviously you've managed fighters and you've been in and around the box and seen him more than just training for years and years, Dave. So for you, I suppose, hope he's got that, what are the word I'm looking for, he's got that somebody that, never mind it's just his coach, but who can manage him in terms of, right, we need to take care of this, because he's obviously only a young lad and there's no need to rush him, is there?
So this is the perfect case, this is a 10-rounder, but I asked for a 10-rounder for this fight because it's this fight, this opponent, this occasion. I also then said to Eddie, just because this is a 10-rounder doesn't mean that I just want him on 10 rounds going forward. Next fight can drop him back down to 8s.
Yeah, because if the kid, depending on the of course.
No rush, he's 5-0.
Yeah.
So I don't need to put him in. Oh, that's it. Now he's at 5-0. He's stuck at 10 rounds. Oh, he's too much. No, the right fight, drop him back down. He's boxing on undercards. He's not built up him. Do you know what I mean? So if boxing on undercards, drop him back down to 8 rounders. If a guy can, just challenge for a world title, get beat or whatever, or lose the world title, and then come back in an 8-rounder. Well, a kid that's 5-6-0 can do the same thing. So that's the plan. His fight after this will be an 8-rounder, and it's all about his development and progression. That's all I'm bothered about more than anything else right now. Okay.
In terms of the stable itself, Dave, if you could just quickly run through who we've got in there at the moment.
Jordan Gill. Looking at him being out next week.
Okay. What show will that be on?
Just an 8-rounder.
We're not sure yet.
Looking like Spain.
Okay.
And then Lerone Richards, European champ, just waiting on his date being confirmed. They're in talks with that. With his management, S-Champ management, and Eddie. So I'm just waiting on that. And then Big Derek Chisora, just confirmed, just waiting for that to get confirmed up. That'll be towards the end of the year as well.
What's it like having Del back in the gym?
Great.
Because see what you just said there, it made me laugh, because you said about Hopey being, he listens to everything acutely.
So does Derek.
I was just about to say that the perception of Derek would be that he does what he wants to do, and
everybody said to me
maybe
that.
with Bellew as well, but we both know Bellew listens to what you said.
So they're very similar in that respect, where everybody expected it to be such hard work, and we're telling them, it's going to be hard work, it's going to be. But then when I've worked with him, like the first stint I worked with Derek, he was a pleasure to work with. It was sound. This time it's even more so, because this time now he'll stay behind, not being asked to, he'll stay behind and he'll watch Lerone train or Hopey train or Jordan train and watch their sparring. If he knows that they're sparring, he'll come in to watch sparring. He might come in early to watch sparring. And his attitude is, and his words are, I've come, there's no ego, I just want to learn. I just want to learn.
Which must be refreshing for you to hear as well.
Especially with somebody that's at his stage in his career. He's very, very hungry, he's very, very motivated, and he's not motivated by money. He's motivated to improve, which is good, which is nice to hear. But it's nice without being prompted. That's nice to hear when somebody's telling you that. And
it'd be nice when they're coming to you for it as well, I suppose.
Yeah, but I'm excited about working with him. I'm really enjoying.
What is it that you want for Del? What sort of the vision you've got for him at this stage of his career?
I want him to have his moment. He's been an unbelievable servant to British boxing. and I want him to have his moment where he can then say, I did that, I'm happy with that, I'm satisfied with that, I'm done. That's what I want. Because when he does decide to retire, I don't want him to have any regrets. I don't want him to think in 2 years' time, I'm coming back. When he chooses to retire, then I want him to retire, and that's it.
Yeah.
I would like that.
You were like that with Bellew though, wasn't you, as well, Dave? Like, you want them to go before. So anyway, and he was, you know, he was open saying like if it was up to Dave and his missus, he would have packed it in way before. But you don't want them to pack it in and come back and.
No, when it's done, it's done.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel with Tony. Tony achieved everything, and then he fought at the highest level of the sport for the undisputed. Didn't go his way, but he put up a great fight, and he fought at the absolute pinnacle of our sport. So he retired. It's done. There's nothing to come back for. Because realistically, if you come back, can you outdo what you did before? No.
Was Del Boy with you for Usyk, or was he left then?
No.
He left.
No. Yeah, after Spilka.
Is any of that frustrating? Not in terms of, you know, obviously he's his own man, he can do what he needs to do and what's right for him at the time, but for you, you've had Tony in there, you've seen Usyk up close, you know what he does well, what he doesn't do well, and you know, he's been with you, Del Boy, and just sensational performance under you, and then now he's gone to fight Usyk, and you're sort of not there to give that bit of guidance.
Yeah, but you can't. You can't control what's not in your power, and what's done is done. It makes no difference. So you can't look at things and say, "Oh, I should have done." If you can't do that, otherwise things drive you mad. So I don't, and it's just
no element of frustration there.
It was frustration when I watched it. It's like,
yeah.
See what I mean? But no, and
because
like
I think people forget. Sorry to interrupt you there, Dave. I think people forget that with I'm not being biased because I'm a Scouser and I like Tony Bellew, but you know, up until he did seem to sort of gas out, I suppose. I don't know whether it was where he said he was used to making the heavyweight limit and come back down to cruiser, but he was doing really well in that fight.
Really well. But also what you got to give Usyk credit for as well is that Usyk does that to everybody. He makes you work harder than you want to work, and he tires you out himself.
He's very cute with what he does.
Yeah, he's very, very good. He's very, very good. So yeah, it was a bit of both, but definitely, I mean, that was my first concern when Tony said to me about this fight. I said to him, do it at heavyweight. He hadn't made cruiserweight for a couple of years, and my words were that two things: I didn't know whether we have the tank after making 14-4, and if he'd have this sturdiness and robustness that he had when you saw him with Hay. Would he have that back at 14-4 after not doing it for a couple of years? So there were my concerns going in, but add that to the fact that what Usyk did to make Tony tighter. There you go.
Yeah, got to give him his props, I suppose.
100%.
In terms of Jordan, obviously you've just said waiting on a date now. Yeah. What's next for Jordan, Dave?
European. He's manager for Guerfi for the European title. Guerfi just won the European title again. I think that's his fourth time he's become European champion.
Yeah, I remember him being European champion years ago. He fought Farag. Yeah, he fought Farag in Liverpool.
Yeah. Good fighter, very good fighter. And now he's gone up in weight as he's got older. He seems rejuvenated. Does that to a lot of the smaller guys. You know, trying to do a certain weight for too long, just you know, it takes it away from them. And then when they go up those couple of divisions, they can seem to have a new lease of life, and that's what it seemed with Guerfi. He put on a good performance. It was still a tough fight against Gargo. I thought he would beat him easier, but it's a dangerous fight for Jordan. It's a proper good old-fashioned European title fight. That's what it is.
And will that be Jordan's next fight?
He's
got this one next week, and then he's gonna.
And then that'll be his next one.
Okay, back in the UK, I imagine.
Don't know. I think it's going out to purse bids. If they can't do a deal, I think MTK look after Guerfi, Eddie looks after Jordan promotionally. So they're going to try and do a deal. If they can't do a deal, they go to purse bids. If it goes to purse bids, then it's open to anybody to bid.
Yeah. Just before we go, Dave, a quick prediction on an upcoming fight from somebody you trained with yourself, Andy Fowler. Not going to give you a prediction for it? No?
I've said somebody didn't understand. Somebody on Twitter didn't understand why I wouldn't give a prediction publicly.
Okay.
And I explained and they still didn't get it. But bottom line is, I've known the Smith family for years. Years. The whole lot of them, including the dad, everybody. And I see them as friends. Fowler, I got to know and train, and I become friends with Fowler. Now, the fact that I used to train Fowler as well, now I don't train him, we are still friends. So, by me publicly, we all have opinions.
Yeah, of course.
They'll know that I've got an opinion who I think wins a fight, but we all have opinions. But we don't have to share them to everybody.
No,
in the world.
that's fair enough.
And when what happens is sometimes I've seen it happen before, where with fights that even match or whatever, and you call and with somebody that you do know, and they get face on me about it.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, be an honest opinion. But you have to look at it from their point of view. They're getting close to a fight. They're quite touchy, or you know.
And especially if you, like you're saying with this one, you've knew them for years, and you wouldn't want to make a.
And whoever I say wins, the other guy's gonna, you know, it's gonna upset them. I don't need to do that. If I didn't give a fuck, then I would do. Or if they weren't.
No, but I understand. Being the type of fella that you are, you're not going to want to upset anybody.
Fowler, I still get on with great, and we're still sound. And like I said, the Smiths have always been great, you know, myself and my family. So I don't need to. But what I will say, it's a fucking great fight.
Yeah. And
I also will say, both men can win that fight. Both men can win. I see people saying, "Oh, Fowler's not got a chance." Yeah, he has. And Fowler's improved. Well, you know, since his time with McGugan, he's improved in his displays on fight night. So you've got to give him a chance. He's very, very dangerous. He can punch really, really hard. But then Liam Smith is boxed at so much higher level, and he's so much better than what you think. Liam's one of those guys that where you look at on the outside or from a distance, you watch on TV, and you don't understand exactly how good he is, what he does, because you think he just walks forward with his hands up. And
there'll be people who watch and think, I can beat him, I can capitalise on that. But when you're in there, it's a different situation.
He's different. He's different. He's very clever. People don't give him credit for his brains. You just see him as like tough, and he's fucking works his body really well, and he picks his spot. But it's his brains. He's very, very clever. And you know, Fowler's got Shane McGuigan as well, and so that it's a really good fight. It is a genuinely good fight. I can see both men winning, but I ain't gonna tell anybody who I think will win.
Yeah. No, you can keep that to yourself then.
Yeah.
Alright, Dave, well, on that note, mate, thanks for your time. Nice to see you again.
Cheers, on you.
Best of luck Saturday with Hopey, and I'm sure I'll catch up, you know, in the future and see what happens. Thanks, mate.